Welcome to the GHQ Crew podcast, where there's no such thing as a snowman when you have a workman.
That's terrible.
That was horrible, Jared.
But it works.
It works.
I mean, we were last minute.
Yeah, and we have a workman.
Yeah, we do have a workman. Welcome to episode number 18. It has been a wild start, and we have none other than the legendary Shane Workman in the house. And I have every right to say legendary because I played in a tournament with this guy. And it's the greatest story ever.
We're leading with that. We're going off right off.
Straight out the gate. Straight out the gate with this. We're on hole number 9 West.
9 West.
It's a par 5. And I don't know what hole they're teeing off from, but they get a ball to curve our way somehow. And I hear 4. I do this. I do a little Michael Jackson move. Turn around, and Shane Workman has done the most glorious barrel roll you've ever seen. I don't think the ball came anywhere near us, but it was a great barrel roll.
Instincts, training.
There it is. Yeah. No, there was no decision making going on. It was just instinct was get out of the way.
Did he pull a 9 and
I reached for it. I was looking for it.
He was like, these boys about to get busted. Yeah.
Still don't know where that ball came from.
So 9's here, and what hole
There's
is
nothing near that.
but yeah, that's weird.
Had to come off of 3, the backside of 3, or there's only way.
How they get a ball to come our way is
Yeah, but it's golfers.
it is golfers. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We're glad to have Shane Workman on the pod this morning. It's going to be a great conversation.
yeah, it is.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Just got back from some travel this week.
How many golf holes did you play in the last week?
Well, big golf holes, like actual rounds, 144 holes walking.
Savage.
What? So we go to Bandon Dunes, leave out Saturday, played 36 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Also played the Preserve and Shorties, this par 3. So we're however many holes that is, 13 and 19 walking. Fly back Wednesday, get home Wednesday night at 10, get up Saturday morning, take the family, drive to Frisco, go to PGA Frisco, play the East Course, which is not for amateurs, by the way. PGA Frisco is the hardest golf course I've ever been on.
Really?
They've got it grown up right now because the heat. I played the 2s, 7,400 yards. It's only walking. You can't even take a cart on it.
Do they caddy there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's single loop, single shoulder, legit.
Wow.
And it's definitely like I said, it's not for amateurs.
Yeah. So
Lots of golf.
lots of golf.
Oh, and then I played 18 Sunday night when I came home.
Green Tree.
Green Tree getting ready for the jam, yeah.
And the West just opened.
West just opened 3 weeks ago. It's glorious.
Heard it's playing firm.
It's good.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, y'all need to get out and play. It's been a long process, but they did a really nice job with the West. You know, the East had its struggles, but the West is awesome. It's trip makes you think your way around a golf course. It's not, the West before, as you guys have both played it, you could just stand up there and let's just rip it, right?
Yeah.
Get it as far down there as you can, knock it on, try to make a putt. Well, now, if you do that, you've got a bunker that you're hitting sand wedge out of, or just an angle that's really difficult.
So they've added bunkers in the fairway.
Oh, yeah, and they're deep. Yeah, you're hitting lob wedge out of a couple of them.
Jeez.
Like it's a penalty shot.
The fascinating thing about that club, when you think about defense systems of a golf course, it was kind of opposite at Green Tree. The greens were really the defense.
Sure.
Because of their size.
Yeah.
They had some big ones out there.
Yeah.
And they had that circus green on 9, was it?
Yeah, the par 5 West?
Yes.
The one that had the little bowl.
What's that look like now?
It's completely different. They moved that whole green complex towards the water
Close to the water.
and bunkered it and gave you more room in the back
Yeah.
and left. Before, if you hit it a little left, you're playing tennis.
Yeah.
And it was a little annoying, right? But now they brought the water into play. There's layup bunkers, so you have to strategically kind of work your way around the layup bunkers. Trip Davis is incredible when it comes to strategy.
Is the slope still the same?
No, it rated out. We just got it rated. The hardest rotations northwest, and that rated out it's par 70, and it rated out at like 73.8.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So it got remarkably harder.
Yeah. Well, we switched 9 north to a par 4. So that made that par 35. And then the west is 35, and it's just dirty.
Yeah.
Greens are great. They're smaller, a lot of subtleties, a lot of bunkering. Don't short side yourself. You're making bogey. And then the rough, the 419 rough is 4 inches deep. And then the tertiary rough, the secondary rough's 8 inches deep.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
So y'all need to get
awesome,
out. Yeah, y'all
bro.
need to get out. It looks really good. They shut off all the water on the in the heavy rough, so it's yellow, and everything else is green, and it's gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what's the plan for East? Are they going to shutter it back down? And
Yeah. So East, as probably everybody knows or may not know, had some issues in the build process of the greens, where the greens mix wasn't used properly. Didn't get the right materials, used more of a rounded sand versus an angular sand. Tried some zeolite, some material to help with the moisture retention, and didn't apply it right. Just, just a mistake.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job of keeping them decent, but Monday they're shutting them down and redoing them. So
that's awesome.
We'll be back full 27 holes, hopefully this time next year, and just be rock and rolling. So
Yeah.
they've done a good job, man. We've had our struggles, and I know Green Tree's gotten a little bit of a kind of have a bad rap the last few years, but the board and the GMs and the superintendent have done a really nice job.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's been really cool to see your membership base, your leaders up there really rally.
Yeah.
That's one of those mistakes that could have been catastrophic.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, that could have been members leaving, that could have been, members screaming, which it probably was.
They were. Yeah, rightly so.
And to see them rally is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs would have just been like, "Hey, we spent the money on it. We're done with it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out."
Yeah, nobody wanted it to work more than the board and the GM and everybody involved, but sometimes, just stuff doesn't go your way.
Yeah,
and
man.
we had COVID.
Yeah.
We had 8 inches of rain in 2 years.
Yeah.
COVID, supply chain issues, couldn't get the sand, couldn't get the piping, couldn't get the sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
And maybe, hindsight's always 2020, but maybe the decision should have been pushed a year, but it is what it is. So
Yeah.
They did a nice job regardless. And I think in 2 years from today, that'll be the premier facility in West Texas. There's no course like it.
I don't know that I can disagree with that. I mean, the new framing on the East, how they framed some of the holes, brilliant.
Brilliant.
And they used the vast majority of that land. Do you know what I'm talking about on East? That right around number 3-ish.
Yeah.
There was all that land back there that wasn't getting used. And the way that they used it now is super cool. Man.
Yeah, it is.
It is super cool. Well, you're going to be hard pressed to find a hole that's cooler, a straightaway hole like number 2.
Yeah.
Bro, the way he framed that was so sick.
Wait till you see 4 West.
Okay.
It's the prettiest par 5 I've ever seen.
I don't know, Clinton. That sounded like an invite.
It kind of did sound like an invite.
Open.
When are we playing?
When you get your back.
Well,
I'm on the shelf. But I'll ride in the cart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's-
No, it's
I can
good.
do
We'll have
that.
to get out and
Let's tee it
maybe we can recreate the barrel roll.
Hey,
I'm older now. I don't know if I can move like
you can
that.
still do it. Don't worry about that. So Shane, I start out every podcast like this, and it's kind of just a question to get some history. What is your history kind of in golf? How you got started? What's that look like?
Oh man. So I'm 50. I just turned 50. I played my first round of golf, I think, when I was somewhere around 12, 13.
Okay.
So some friends we went to church with, their dads played, and every Sunday we had this ritual that one of the families would host all the kids. I think it was so that parents can kind of get some break from the kids. So we would rotate. And when we rotated to this particular guy's house, they played golf. The guys would go play golf. And so I went the first time and I didn't have any clubs. And then, so the next time, you know, my dad said, hey, you know, we got some beaters or whatever, you know, and I went out and I just hooked, right?
Yeah.
Started playing 13, 14, 15, played in high school. Grew up in Oklahoma, so we played muni courses. We weren't country club kids, so played all over Oklahoma muni courses. Oklahoma City, by the way, has a tremendous junior program. I don't know if they still do, but when I was growing up, it was so Oklahoma City has great junior program, but they also have great public golf. So there's 4 Oklahoma City public golf courses. Each facility has 36 holes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And for $3, so it's all the range balls you could hit for free, but for $3 I could play as much as I want. So it's $3 a day. Now I'm 50, so I mean, let's inflation, that may be 10, 15 bucks now. So we took advantage of that, and you know, I was always active in baseball and football, and played all the sports and wrestled and did that stuff. But once golf kind of gets in your blood, I still played football in high school all the way through my senior year, but it was.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in Oklahoma,
Yeah, you got to play football.
got to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So did that, played through high school. I was the only all-state golfer ever from my school. First and only still, I think. It's not a big golf town. It's a small 3A town, football, wrestling, state championships, baseball, state championships. But the closest golf course was 22 miles. So in Oklahoma City. So I would, you know, it was kind of difficult. But did that. Then I went to Southwestern Oklahoma State in Weatherford, played golf there for Coach Cecil Perkins. Great golf team. And then a year and a half later, decided to leave school and join the Marine Corps. And so put the clubs down for a while, obviously doing that. And when I rotated back stateside after 2 years, because the first 6 months in the Marine Corps, they're just training you, right? They're just killing you, basically. And then the next year I was deployed overseas. And then when I came back, I got married, went to Washington State, and was working a schedule where I worked a week on, week off. And it was like,
Yeah.
time to golf.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was able to take advantage of is, like, I was not an NCO at the time. I was just enlisted non-rate. They had different green fees depending on what rank you were on the base. So as an E3, I could play for like $8. You know, once you made corporal, it was like 15. And then once you made staff or officer, it was like $30. Right. So
Because they knew you had more money.
yeah. They know what you're getting paid. So like this guy can't afford a green fee. So we played a lot of golf in Washington State. And then there was a place there called Gold Mountain that would give military discounts. And so me and some of my buddies, some of my older Marine Corps buddies, staff sergeants, gunnery sergeants, they found out that I could play golf, and they're like, hey, come with us.
Yeah.
And so we play, and I played a lot of golf. And then my CO found out through the grapevine somehow that I was a decent golfer and sent me to, and my buddies hated this, my Marines hated this, but they sent me TDY, which is temporary duty, to play on the Marine golf team, all Marine Corps golf team.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I went down to California to, I want to say it was an air base down there, some Marine Corps air base, and played the West Coast military championships, whatever. And of course, the Army and Navy and Air Force beat the crap out of us. We had real jobs. Right?
Sure, yeah. I knew where you were going with that. Yeah. The Air Force guys were real good.
But yeah, so I would go 30 days at a time and go TDY and just play golf. And I would be packing up all my gear, and my guys were like, where are you going? I'm going to play golf. They're like, you're going to play golf for the Marine Corps? I'm like, yeah. They hated me.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of the story. And I got out of the Marine Corps, went back to Oklahoma after the Marines, tried to play on the small tours for a while. I played like prairie and tight lies and little bitty tours around Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and realized that I didn't have the putter for it. And also I had a family at the time. My son was young. I was newly married, so decided to get a real job. And I was actually working at a golf headquarters when I was playing on the small tours. Because when I got out of the Marine Corps, a high school and college buddy of mine started golf headquarters in Norman, Oklahoma. And so I helped him start that. I did that for 3 years with him. We opened another store in Northside, Oklahoma City. I ran the stores for 3 years. So I've been in golf and retail, and I was playing on the side. And then, and then that's kind of how I got in golf and got started in golf. And I've been playing ever since, and probably got really competitive. I moved here in 2005 to get in oil and gas. The same folks, his father, great guy, had a drill bit company that he was starting and they were using agents at the time. So they would hire these agents and pay them a commission to sell their drill bits in West Texas. And it just wasn't working right. So they said, hey, we trust you. We know you could sell. We want you to come to work for us, and move to Midland, Texas. And so he and I got on a plane and landed in Midland, and I got out and I was like, there's no way my wife's moving here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember driving into town here going, what is this?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Now, it wasn't
It was
built
like
up.
the moon.
Yeah.
And this was 05, so there wasn't a
Exactly.
whole lot. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean, you come in on 349,
There's nothing.
there's nothing
Yeah.
back in
Past-
the day.
You pass
I mean,
Midland Country Club.
Yeah.
yeah.
But you can't even see it.
No. 'cause
Right.
It's and then there's the 3 houses right there.
Yeah.
That's all you could see.
That's all you could see.
Just empty
Yeah.
fields.
I felt you, bro.
Yeah.
When I moved here in 08, I was like,
Mm,
this ain't going to last.
no.
I'm gone.
And at the time we had Braden, my oldest, and I was working for Yellow Book USA at the time. I'd left the golf business, went into outside sales, which is a great story, by the way. You want to find out if you can sell? Do 20% straight commission, no salary.
Let's go.
Did that for 3 years. Did really well.
What yellow book was it?
So at the time, it was Feist Yellow Pages,
Okay.
which is a locally. So you always had Southwestern Bell, right? And before the iPhone, if you needed a plumber or you needed your AC goes out, guess what you were doing?
Phone book.
Phone book.
Picking up the phone book.
Yeah.
My kids don't even know what a phone book is. Every once in a while,
Google.
we'll get one in the mail. I'm like, that paperweight, right?
I leave
Yeah.
it on top of the mailbox.
Yeah. So, but selling advertising in those books was super lucrative at the time. And at 20%, I'm like,
Let's go.
did really well. But
Did you ever meet a guy named Dick Reed?
I think I did.
He owned Swabips,
Okay.
Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages.
Yeah. They were the big competitor. They were
And,
massive.
well, he was a member at La Paloma
Okay.
and Tascosa and Amarillo Country Club.
Oh, jeez.
Dude, I'm not gonna talk too much smack, because, well, he offered me $1 million if I could make him a scratch golfer.
What?
This is a true story. So I'm working the shop at La Paloma. I'm an assistant at the time. And Dick Reed walks in. And every time Dick was coming up, he'd call, Jared, give me some golf balls ready. You know what that meant? The big green basket.
Yeah.
You know the big green.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure you've hit 1 million balls out of the big green
Yeah,
basket.
I've hit
But
a few
that's
That's 500, right?
it's
Close.
it's like 350.
Yeah.
Right? It's like 350 balls. He wanted 2 of them.
Yeah.
And we would close the range, guys, around 7 o'clock in the summer. So we could pick it, get it all cleaned up, right? And most of the time, Dick would
Still out there pounding balls.
call it 650. And we're like, yes, sir, not a problem. And he'd pull up in his, at the time, space-age looking car. It, almost kind of looked like a Tesla almost, right?
Yeah.
Mixed with like a Jaguar and it was a cool car. And he had this stomach that was about this big, and he had a hernia sticking out of it about like that.
Of course he did.
And he walks in, and I mean, dude, this guy flew. Who's the gravity golf guy? Mo Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he flew Mo Norman out multiple times. Mo was out on our range
Wow.
giving private lessons to this guy.
Single plane.
$15,000 every time he came. Okay, Dick would put him up the whole night. So anyway, he offers me. He comes in, Jared. I'm so sick of this. I'm a terrible player. I'll give you $1 million if you can make me a scratch golfer. And I went, what? Are you for real? And he goes, you damn right I'm for real. $1 million. If you can make me a scratch golfer. I was like, get your butt in that cart. We'll go to the
Let's
range
go.
right now. And I went in the office. I told Rod, I was like, Rod, I'm going to be gone for a second. I got to go help Dick Reed. He was like, what? He goes, he just offered me $1 million if I can make him a scratch golfer. You think I'm not going down there? So here we went. Whew. I said, I'd never seen him hit a ball. So I'm standing behind him. I was like, all right, Dick, show me what you got. And he lines up, I kid you not, he tees up 15 golf balls in a row on tees like this. And he grabs a golf club, you know, in that gravity golf way. I can't really describe it, but it's kind of like that, but it's not, you know, it's like this. And he grabs it, swings it, and I went, oh my God. He barely made contact. And he hits all 15 of those golf balls in about, I don't know, 4.5 seconds. Pop, 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 pop.
Rapid fire.
Yeah. And I went, Dick, I can't help you.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be a millionaire.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, see you, man. And I got in the cart and took off. I could hear him laughing from the driving range as I'm going up the path. And then he screams, thanks a lot, man. You know, and I just always got a kick out of him.
See, at that point, now look, in retrospect, I know your business acumen today, you would have said, tell you what I'll do. $1 million scratches. It's out. It ain't happening. How about we break 100? We get you in the 90s for 250.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, start negotiating at that point, right? Because I think you could have got him in the 90s.
100%.
And that would have been a big improvement for him.
Well, and, you know, that was kind of the start of my, I always say my real golf career, because I was at Ross Rogers before, but I was just a cart kid that worked my way up into the shop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at La Paloma, that's when I really started figuring stuff out. I mean, dude, here's how good of a salesman I was. We had this guy that comes in. His name's Larry. I'm thinking of his last name. I can't remember his last name. His first name was Larry. And he's a guy out of Dalhart, maybe, or I can't remember, Dumas. But he was a financial guy and made lots and lots and lots of money. And he comes in and he wants to see what the new drivers are. And at the time we had the Nike NDS, brand new. Yeah. We had the Titleist,
976.
It was the 97. It was, what series was that? 9 something.
983Ks.
No, it was the LFE driver. They called it LFE. That was the fade one, and JVS. That was the draw one.
That's the 970 series.
It was the J series.
976J.
Yeah. 975J.
975J. Yeah.
975J. And then we had the Callaway, which at the time they had just released new drivers because the one they sent out first was illegal. It was so hot. And he comes in and he goes, hey, I want to try these new drivers. I said, no problem. We literally step out and tee up 3 golf balls out on we had this little patio, and then to the left there was grass, like on this big hill, and you could hit balls right down number 9. I said, come out here and hit a couple with these. He goes, well, which one's the best? I'll get it. Just tell me which one. I was like, well, I don't know. Just hit them. So he hits the first one, it's right down the middle. Hits the second one, it's right down the middle. Hits the third one, it's right down the middle. I looked at Larry and I said, man, those were all awesome. I guess you got to get all 3. And he goes, okay.
Just bought them all 3.
He bought all 3 of them. And here's the great salesman in me. I looked at him and I went, really? Really? And he's like, yeah, man. And he paid full pro shop retail because at the time I didn't know.
Member price.
Yeah. Didn't know we were supposed to give him 20%.
Yeah. So he paid
my GM was real happy with
$279 a driver.
No. That they were still, that's what people forget, and Shane will know. But bro, back in the day, we're getting back to old pricing.
Were they that expensive?
Yes.
They were $599, $699?
They were $500. Well, in the pro shop, they were retailing at $550. So that means at golf headquarters,
Yeah.
they were $4.99.
Right. So,
I mean, they're not egregiously out of bounds.
right. I remember a couple of stories about the golf business. Two things. You're talking about selling and being a closer. One of my favorites, and it always worked. You get a guy in there and he's hitting. We had a simulator. This was, what year would that have been? 99, 2000, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So you had Vector.
Yeah, and it is what it is, right?
Well, it was state of the art at the time.
At the time, and you get them in there and you get them to hitting some balls, and then there was always a moment where they hit a couple in a row, right? And you could tell it was the right. And I was big on making sure it was the right fit for the guy.
Same.
I wouldn't sell him something that he couldn't hit or didn't need, right? But once he was locked in on it, my favorite thing was, let me get you a head cover for that.
Yeah.
Let me go grab the head.
Let me grab the head cover. That was it. Once you grab the head cover and you pull it out of the plastic and you walk up, you walk to the register and you sold. That was my close.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And it worked. And the reason I got in the golf business, actually, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I wanted to be a state trooper. Well, so in the Marine Corps, I was on what they call a CQB team. It was a recovery capture team for, I was a security force Marine stationed in Washington State at nuclear submarine base Bangor, where they keep the Trident nuclear subs and subsequently the warheads and the missiles. And so my team was in charge of, if something happened and a weapon was compromised, we went and got it back. So we were kind of a broken arrow team, right? So the training was high speed at the time, breaching, we used simunition. It was all SWAT, CQB, high speed stuff, right? So when I got out, I was like, as I was getting out, I was like, man, I was a medic. So I was a medic on the team. Marine Corps sent me through paramedic school, well, EMT and EMTI. When I got out, I was like, I want to be a medic on a ATF or FBI or some U.S. Marshal SWAT team. I'm good at that. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so came back and used my GI Bill, started going to paramedic school. I started working in the golf shop with my buddy that owned it until I could get through my training or get through my selection process. Just, you got to have money, right? I had a family. So I was working, going to school, also playing some golf. So it was a really busy time. And then something happened. Well, I know what happened, but I think it was May 3rd, 1999. We had the largest tornado ever come through the state of Oklahoma. I was on my way from Norman at 5 or 4:30. I had to leave because I had a ER clinical for my paramedic. When you go to paramedic school like a nurse, you go to do these clinicals, right? Where you go OR and you intubate and you go to do all these things. So I had an ER rotation that night, and I was going to be in the ER all night, and got cut off by the tornado. And I was the first medic on scene. And I worked from 5:15 in the afternoon, had my kit, had my gear on because I was headed to the hospital, and you have to be ready to go. And I worked that tornado, pulling bodies out of that place and patching holes, and it was bad, right? For 7 straight hours. Like literally, we couldn't get ambulances in there. It was all on foot, bringing people out on doors, using saran wrap for sucking chest wounds. Like, it was bad. And I just had this moment like, man, like,
that was like an EF5 though.
Oh, it was the largest tornado ever recorded on the face of the earth.
Yeah, huge.
Winds in excess. Whatever they do to measure the wind, it was at 327 miles per hour, which is the highest that thing would register.
Yeah.
So we don't know if it was 350.
Yeah.
But it was to see that in person. I saw the tornado with my own eyes. And then I immediately followed the tornado and I was the first medic there. Me and another guy, a firefighter that was off duty, we hooked up and we worked. And I remember getting home at like 1 or 2 in the morning. My truck blew up on the way home. The National Guard was already on my highway, wouldn't let me into my house. So I had to turn around and go back. That's when I blew my truck up. Then I hitchhiked back to Moore. I was trying to get to Bridge Creek. They had it shut down because there were so many fatalities. It ripped the asphalt off the ground.
Wow.
Dude, he also was trying to save somebody that had a 2x4.
A 2x4.
Through
them.
Through them.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah,
crazy.
so that affected me, right? I mean, I'm a Marine. Like, I am trained in combat, in dealing with all this stuff. But when you start seeing civilians and you see something that's not combat that causes so much chaos and casualty,
yeah.
I was like, man, do I want to do this?
Right.
And I loved working at the golf shop. Like, it's not that I tell this I tell people this all the time. And I was a sales trainer for a while in Yellow Pages. I tell people, it's like, I didn't get into sales to sell people things. I got into sales because I genuinely like to help people buy things. Like, I like buying things.
Yeah.
So when I'm in that process with them, I enjoy that.
Yep.
And I try to get them in the best possible scenario. Same today. I mean, with my business and with the business that I run for Scientific Drilling, it's like I enjoy seeing clients get what they pay for and get enjoyment out of that process.
Sure.
And so I completely switched my career. I switched from being this hard, going to be breaking down doors and breaching doors and, shooting bad guys, to helping people buy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool transition, and I enjoyed it. And, I'm kind of glad I did. Obviously, that's the route that God had for my life. And because who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
What a fascinating dynamic, though, man. I mean, when you think about that, both scenarios help people, but it's on one hand, it's helping people that may not even have a chance at all try to survive,
right.
Or seeing, my father was a firefighter for 20 years up in Amarillo, and the PTSD that's a real thing,
real.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the things he saw were just unimaginable, right? But that's what filled his cup, right? That he loved being that guy. The flip side for me is, and you were the same way, you still get to help people on this other side,
Sure.
but you get to help them be happy.
Happy.
Yeah.
Well, you think about your dad was a firefighter. You think about the Oklahoma City, and I have family that's still on Oklahoma City Fire Department. That department has seen more major events than any fire department probably in the world. Murrah building bombing,
Yeah.
right? They were there. All the tornadoes, right? You think about what Oklahoma City has had to endure the last 20 years, and their fire department is so good. People come from all over to train with Oklahoma City Fire.
Yeah.
Because of their response to those events.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you think, oh, this is my path. This is what I want to do. This is what I think my skill set. And my skill set was definitely built for that. But do you want to do it? That's why I always tell my kids, like, I don't care how much money you make. Do something you want to do, that you enjoy doing.
Well, if you look at it from the other side of that, though, like your skill set, your passion, what you're passionate about, right? I think that was something you were passionate about.
Sure.
But that passion can be redirected to be used in a different way.
A different way.
And
yeah,
so
for
I
sure.
think when you find, we talked about this with Dub and Rick, when you find your God-given design, when you get in line with what he wants you to do in your life, there's nothing that can stop it.
No, it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key is not, and I'll tell you a real quick story on that. So I still went ahead. What they told me was when I actually interviewed with, or had not interviewed, but had reached out and had some channels to reach out FBI and ATF SWAT. They said, we want you, but you got to have some police background first. I'm like, I'm a Marine. Like, I'm going to be blowing doors down. They're like, exactly. We need you to be civilian taught how to deal with civilians, not combatants, right? I said, okay. So I decided I was going to try out for the Oklahoma City Police Department. And so I went through the whole selection process, crushed it. Like, just, it was almost too easy, right? And I don't mean that braggadociously. I mean, I just got out of the Marine Corps. They were asking me to, run 1.5 miles, and it's like, that's a warm up for a Marine, right? So blew all that out of the water. But what was weird was the very last test was a physical fitness test. You run 1.5 miles and you drag a dummy so far up these stairs. Excuse me. And then the last thing is they take you in the gym and they make you bench press your body weight, which, come on, like, no big deal. Got under the bench. I think at the time I was 205, 200. Put 205 on, couldn't do it. I'm like, so I tried it again. I was like right here. Now I can do 225 reps, right? Like,
Sure.
But for whatever reason that day, that bar would not go to the top. And so Jerry Flowers, who was kind of my sponsor, he's a longtime police officer in Oklahoma City, a legend, said, hey, you can try it again, just start training your shoe in. Like, it's no big deal, it just happens. I went back and talked to my dad. And I said, I don't understand. And Dad said, it's not God's plan for you. Right? I was devastated. I was like, oh, this is it. Well, if I look at what happened from that moment on, I got into sales and came down here and built some businesses and highly successful and do something I love. That was, I feel like that was a moment where God said, this is not what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to keep you from doing it for your own benefit.
Close the door.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was weird because there's no other reason other than that I couldn't push that 205 to the top, because it was easy, man. Like as a matter of fact, I went home the next day and got on the bench and repped it like 6 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
When God closes the door, you're not going to be able to open it.
No. That bar felt like it weighed 300.
Yeah.
And I'm going,
that's such a cool story though, man, because that's how it goes.
Well, it's not my plan, right?
Right.
I thought I had a plan, but he's like, mm-mm.
Well, it's just like this new business that you started, which I definitely wanted to bring up, because I told you this not too long ago. I mean, you definitely helped me. Mm-hmm. And I'll be right back to it.
Oh yeah.
When I get this back fixed. But like I told you, I'm not going to cheat the nutrition deal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to make sure that it's
the most important
that we stay with it. Right. But dude, here in a sec, I want you to talk about that. But before, I want to say it this way, man. I told you this not too long ago, and it's true. Guys like you change lives. It's just how it is, man. And you're a really, really special human in that regard. And it's so cool what you're doing for so many guys around here with this program, just being a great coach. But a great coach also has to have some, grace, but also the kick in the pants.
Sure.
Right? Sometimes you got to kick people in the pants.
Grace and truth.
Grace and truth. And I think I had my best friend, my old boss, we went to high school and college together. He had the golf shop. He used to tell me, you always tell the kind truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, the truth does hurt. It really does sometimes. Sometimes it's very liberating too. But, so to talk about the program, so just to give a real quick backstory, about 3.5 years ago, it's funny I'm wearing this hat because about 3.5 years ago, I went to Bandon Dunes with a group of guys. You guys know if you haven't been to Bandon, it's walking only, golf as it should be, right? They have 5 golf courses, and when you go up there, it's hard to get there, so you play as much as you can. So they had us set up for like 18, 36, 18, 36, 18, preserve, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, I was about 240-ish pounds and had fallen off of my fitness, obviously from the Marine Corps. And I was telling Clinton this morning, I lost the same 40 pounds like 3 times through those 20 years. And it was always crash diets and, just starving myself to death, or these keto diet and all these weird things, right? So fast forward, I go up there and took a group picture, and played the week, and I had to skip a couple of the 18s. Just physically couldn't do it, which is hard for me to admit.
Yeah.
Especially as much as I love golf and my pride of being a Marine, that, being able to physically accomplish most things. And I got home and I felt terrible, and I saw that picture, and I'm like, man, it's not right. Right. So there was an online health and fitness coach who has a very successful business here, kind of in the oil and gas business. And he had been reaching out to me through Facebook, and finally I just said, I'm doing it. And I joined his program, and I was in his program for about 15 months. And long story short, learned a sustainable way of living a healthy lifestyle, being fit. The key is sustainability, because anything you do, if you can't sustain it, is it's just a waste of time, honestly.
Right.
And not that effort isn't a waste, but you're really just kind of treading water if you don't have something you can do the rest of your life. And I was getting older. I was 46 at the time, 47. Had a grandchild. Have 2 now. And I really started thinking about mortality, right? About, what the things that I love, my kids, my family, my job, my golf, my bow hunting, like getting in the mountains and chasing an elk with a stick and a string, like you're not going to be able to do those things much longer if you can even do them today. And so I joined that program. Fast forward, highly successful through the program. The program works. Started coaching for this gentleman, and through it all, learned his way and kind of developed my own coaching techniques and nutrition's nutrition. I mean, it's a science-based approach. Nobody's going to have a different. If they do, if you meet a coach who's a nutritionist and he's teaching something off the wall, it's his own thing, because the body's very precise when it comes to nutrition. High protein, low fat, moderate carbs. Carbohydrates are good if used properly around good exercise programs, right? If you don't use that structure, then you can be in trouble. So coached for him for about a year, put about 70 guys through the program, highly successful. And then he had a change in his business plan and structure, and so it allowed me to kind of go out on my own. And I've been wanting to do something more personal for the guys in Permian Basin. One of the things about the program that I thought was a disadvantage was it's pretty much all online, right? So you do Zoom calls and you would get videos, feedback, which I still do. I think they're great. But there's also, you're missing that personal touch, just seeing someone. The other thing is, Joe Rogan said on his podcast, I was listening to a podcast, and he says that most men live a life of quiet desperation. And I really started thinking about that, and I realized that that was me at some point in my life, until I found health and fitness, and I knew there had to be other men here in the Permian, and I saw them. What's funny is when you change your lifestyle and you get healthy and you get fit and you're working out and you're eating correctly and your friend group changes, and what happens is you start to see who you were in other people, and then you get a heart for that, right? And so I started Thrive Wellness as a local men's health and fitness. I don't coach females. I don't understand the hormones, bro.
None of us do.
That's a whole other.
None of us do.
But so I started Thrive Wellness in January. Right now we're up to 25, I think 26 guys in the program. We do so it's basically nutrition, strength training, because as we age, putting on muscle and retaining muscle, having muscle on your body is the number one. It's like a fountain of youth, right? Think about it. People who, first of all, there's four of the 5 major all-cause mortalities in the United States for men are preventable. Stroke, heart disease, right? Diabetes, and the other one's cancer, but it's really not. There's debate if it's preventable or not. Sure. I don't believe that it's truly preventable through health and fitness, but I think it helps. All those are preventable. And then when you get into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, falls. Well, think about this. If you're falling, why are you falling? Why do old people fall?
Lack of muscle.
Lack of muscle. Mm-hmm. And so if you know the science is as we turn 40, we start to lose 2 to 3% of our muscle mass every year. As we turn 50, it's 4 to 5%. We get in our 60s, it gets 10%, 8 to 10%. Right? Wow. Yeah, it's incredible. And so you start falling. You can't be as physically active. You can't walk. You can't lift things. You just get old and you die. And we're all going to die. But what is that going to look like in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right? And so I had this passion for starting people and men in the Permian Basin who are like myself. We're to a point where, I have some young guys in the program. And if anything, I would really like to reach the young guys.
Sure.
Because if you start now when you're 25 or 30, by the time you're 50, for you and I to start at 46, you know how tough it is.
Old dog, new tricks.
It's doable, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So long story short, I put on 15 pounds of muscle, lost 40 pounds overall. My triglycerides and lipid panels went to the bottom. Like my triglycerides were 700. Now they're 115. And that's just diet, nutrition and working out. But so I started Thrive Wellness. I want to continue to grow it, and I do believe it changes lives. I saw my marriage get better. I got promoted at work. I got a new job, a big time, what I consider a job that was way over my capability at the time. And I think a lot of that's just when you walk into a room and you're fit and you're not drinking alcohol to the tune that I was drinking alcohol. That's another thing is I don't coach giving up alcohol 100%, but I wish you would. I wish we all would. I mean, I have pretty much. It's just it's not good when it comes to health and fitness. If you start really and as a certified nutritionist, when you start digging into it, it's like, bro, it's poison.
Yeah.
And I love a good cold beer, right? I love a ranch water. But you prioritize things differently when you start to understand what is actually happening inside the body. You can't get an REM sleep if you have alcohol in your system. You can't process nutrients if your liver's processing alcohol. You cannot. It's physically, and people, I sleep great when I have a few beers. No, you didn't. You were unconscious, but you didn't sleep great. And then it's not until you start tracking your sleep, actually your REM and your deep sleep and your recovery, that you understand the detriment that has on you.
Well, and everything you say is so true, man. I mean, since I injured my back, it's amazing. I mean, I slept an hour and a half last night.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It because of the pain and stuff. But at the same time, dude, just having to pause like workouts, you can feel it, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you get tired in the afternoon, and
you're not as happy.
Yeah, and
well, your body actually, when you contract a muscle, there's little tiny amino acids that are secreted, and actually, if you look it up, they're called hope molecules. They're joy molecules.
Yeah,
the body actually secretes molecules when you contract muscle, when you tear muscle down through strength training, that makes you happy.
Yeah.
You always see these guys go to the gym like, dude, they're just happy people, right?
Yeah, something to it.
There's something to it.
Yeah.
Well, and
the body's incredible.
This thing, and I want to touch on this because I think it'll help so many guys. And by the way, if you have not signed up with Shane, do it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Don't, what is it? $200?
It's $200.
It's $200.
And I did that on purpose. So when I coached for this other gentleman before, it was $600 a month.
Yeah.
And listen, it was the best $600 a month I ever spent. I'll tell people that all day.
Oh, 100%.
I would do it again to get from where I were to I am today. But I didn't want to monetize. The only reason I monetized it, and I told you this, is so people would take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it for free.
Yeah.
Right? That's how passionate I am about it.
Yeah.
But when you monetize it and you're making that payment every month, it kind of reminds you that, hey, I got to be accountable to this.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So, yeah, $200 a month and no contract. I don't want you in the program if you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
If you need to pause it, we'll pause it. Right? People say, how long should I stay in the program? I'm like, I have a coach the rest of my life.
Yeah, and the thing for me was, and I actually told you this a lot. This is just a personal side for me, but what was really cool about, or I shouldn't say was, what is really cool about having you as a coach, the accountability side of it is awesome, but at the same time, man, you're the type of guy that people don't want to let down.
Right.
I don't want to let you down. And so that was a big deal for me. I want to touch on this though, man, because I think it's so important, the work that you're doing. There are guys sitting down, and they're going to watch this podcast that are living that silent desperation.
Yeah.
Most
men do.
they're living it. And what happens is when they get in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, there's not even talk about 80s and 90s.
Right.
Because when they get in their 60s, that muscle mass starts to go away. They haven't worked out. They haven't done their stuff. And dude, they get acclimated to living this quiet desperation. And what do? They say, screw it.
Yeah. They give up.
And that's why they die at 68, 65, 72.
I see it every day.
Yeah, man. And what you're doing, forget about the thought process. If you're sitting there and you need to lose 100 pounds, forget about it. Don't think about that. Think about the quality of life you're going to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you purpose.
Yeah. So think about this too, and this is why I only coach men. I'm a man. I understand men better than I do women.
Sure.
I've been married 29 years. I still don't understand her.
Oh, come on.
But think about all the people who depend on us.
Mm.
You and I had this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and I see it every day when I interview guys or when I guys talk about coming to the program. They're like, oh man, I'm like, let me see your day. Like, tell me about your day. Well, I wake up at 5 and I grab something out the door and I go to work, or I get my kids breakfast and I take them to school and I go to work and I come home at 6 and then we do dinner and we have soccer practice. We do this and then we're doing chores and then bedtime. We stay up late watching movies and then we do it over again. Like, where's any time for you? Oh, well, I'm serving my family. I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you can't be your best self, you're not serving them to your full potential.
Sure.
That's right.
You're cheating your family.
You're cheating your family.
Yeah.
And so I always say, and I did this with Donnie, I said, he's like, I don't have time. I don't have time to work out. I said, I want you to diary log your next week, hour by hour, even if it's blocks of time with sleep. And about a week later, he texted me, he said, 5:30 to 7. That's what he mean. He said, that's my time. It's the only time I have for myself. That's what I did. I looked at my schedule and I went, I got 5 to 6:30. Well, what's that mean? Some sacrifice. It means I got to be in bed by 8:30 or 9 or 9:30, asleep. And I got to be up by 4:45. I still get my sleep. We prioritize sleep. But what that means is I give myself an hour and a half a day so that I can be functionally ready to serve my family and the people who depend on me. Not just my family, my friends, my coworkers. I run a business. I have 55 or 60 employees. They have to have the best version of me. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is we run ourselves into the ground over a number of years. We can't help them. We get to a point where we can't help them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you get acclimated to that. That's what you gotta. That's the correlation you gotta see. You get acclimated to that lifestyle of just run and gun, burn out.
It's your normal.
And then you can't serve anybody.
Yeah.
You can't serve the people at work. You can't serve you try. You do what you can.
Do what you can, but it's not your full potential.
But then what happens? That's where depression comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the anxiousness comes in.
Anxiety.
Right? That's where that self-worth starts to fall.
Yeah.
So start the program with Shane. And by the way, I want to tell you this and I want to tell everybody out there this. One of the things that you say, and it's a small thing, and I don't know if you, well, I'm sure you do, but it's such a profound effect. But one of the things you said, man, it resonated with me because when you jump into a program like this, guys, what ends up happening is you start going, man, this sucks. After 2 weeks, you're like, I don't want another protein. I just want a burger. Or, those are the things that creep into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you text Coach Shane and you say, man, I screwed up today, bro. I crushed 3 slices of pizza. And you know what Shane's going to say? That's all right.
Get back on it.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the new day. Start again tomorrow.
So one of my sayings is I don't care how many times you restart.
That's right.
Just restart.
Just restart.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
Failure's part of it.
Failure's part of it. And if you and I talked about this before the show, is if we look for perfection, if we constantly strive for, it's just like in our golf game, right? If we go out there and we think we're going to shoot 65 every time, we're going to be let down. And so I think you have to go about this with a coach who understands the difference between motivation, because motivation is very fleeting, and building discipline. Yeah. We build discipline and we have grace and we understand that we're imperfect. And I coach an 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the time I want you locked in. The other 20% is freedom. Mm-hmm. You want a piece of pizza? I have pizza every Friday night with my kids.
I had pizza last night.
Yeah. No, I don't eat a whole pepperoni pizza like I used to.
Same.
I'm a little more intentional about it.
I've been intentional about just leaving. Like if I have a burger, right? I had a burger on vacation.
Yeah.
Half.
Yeah.
That's it.
Again,
I'm done.
It's not without sacrifice. Listen, we can't. You can't. What's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make some changes, and that's why I tell people, like, you're not going to come to the program and booze 5 days a week and not work out and eat what you want and lose 25 pounds and get the body you want.
That's right.
It's not going to happen.
By the way, you were right. The last thing
Always. Look, I'm still
for
fighting
guys,
I'm still fighting it.
it's this little part right here.
Yeah.
This belly fat.
It'll go, though. It
Yeah,
might
we'll
take
get
us
it
5
out of
years,
there.
but
We'll get
the
it
main
out of
thing
there.
is, I think, to sum it all up, is being intentional, understanding brick by brick.
There it is. Brick
That's
by
my
brick.
slogan.
Yep.
And if you think about how anything is built, it's not built. I hate Rome's only not built it. I hate that. Everybody uses it. But for me, it's brick by brick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes the progress is going to be slow, right? But you're still building.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might have to I built a fire pit one time in my backyard out of bricks. And I remember it was crooked and I tore it down. Sometimes you got to tear it down and start over,
That's right.
right? So,
Well, and the other thing is it's an expectation thing, right? So some people that are watching are like, man, I've got 50 pounds to lose. There's no freaking way. You know what's awesome about this program? Shane says, give me a pound a week. Give me a pound a week.
sometimes not even a pound a week.
That's right. But you know what's cool is if you're on this program and you have 50 pounds to lose, guess what?
Yeah.
It ain't going to be a pound a week, bro. You're going to lose 5 in 1 week when you start and you dive in, because people that have more to lose, they're going to have that initial deal. And then here comes the plateau that everybody wants to quit on, right?
Yep. That's the hardest thing, is pushing through plateaus.
Yeah, but Shane, you've got the program for it.
Yeah.
You got the program for
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure.
You know, that guy's going to come to you that week and he may even gain a pound.
I've seen it. It happens all the time.
And you're gonna say, well, hey, brick by brick,
Yep.
start again, right? Don't get frustrated. It's all good. Just stick with it.
The body is super smart, too.
Yeah, man.
So when we try to trick the body, see, our bodies are designed to self-preserve, right? So we go into a deficit, and the body goes, wait a minute. Okay, I'll let you have a few things. I'll let you have a few pounds, but this is it. We're stopping right here. We trick it. We give it a few more calories for a few weeks. We go, oh, body goes, oh, we're not starving anymore. I'll let go loose of some of this. I put people on reverse diets and they lose weight. It's weird.
Well, no, that's so
Science.
I told you today, 212.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was 240.
Yeah.
Right before I started.
Right.
I had lost a little. And then I got with you. It's 212. Here's what's crazy about that, bro. I was stuck at 215 for, I don't know,
Weeks.
3
weeks.
3 weeks or so. And I got back from vacation and I was like, God, I don't even want to look. But it was weird, man. I felt good. You know?
Yeah.
Other than my back, I felt great. I get on the scale, 212. And I went, whoa, that's freaking cool.
So again, your body actually in a very short time frame metabolically adapted to the calorie intake.
Yeah.
When you increase those calories by going on vacation and having a few free meals, it lets loose. It says, okay, we can go out of starvation mode. But now it's time to get back on a deficit, because if not, you'll gain.
That's right.
Right? It'll go, okay, let's start storing again.
So is there, let me ask you this in closing, is there a way that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah. So info@thrivewellness.com.
Okay.
And that will give you shoot me an email. I can send you over the information. I've got my own personal app. You can find it on the App Store. I don't think I'm on Android yet, but Apple. I got to figure out why the Android hadn't launched yet. But anyway, Apple iTunes Store. It's Thrive Wellness.
Okay.
And
Or text me.
or text
call
Jared
me,
or call or
Sure.
whatever.
and I'll get you going.
But the program is it's life changing. What Jared said, I don't mean that. Like I said, I'm not
Sure.
I'm over here changing lives, but it's just you go through a program like this and you do it the right way and you have the right coach and the right mindset, because that's the biggest thing is just mindset too, right? This isn't I don't want anybody that says, oh, I want to can I do a 3-month deal, and like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
You can do 1 month and quit, or you can do 12 months or 15 months or 18 months. I have guys who've been with me for 2 years. They just want the accountability, and they
Sure.
need a coach. I have a coach. I have a golf psychiatrist, which is he's great, but I don't know how much I'm actually applying it. And then I still, who holds me accountable is my clients.
Yeah.
I can't preach it and not do it. Right?
Sure.
So I live this lifestyle so that my clients can see it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm actually, I go above and beyond and let them know, hey, this is what I did today. Here's my macro. I just completed my diary. So it's a good accountability.
It really is cool too, because when you walk in the room as somebody in the program, it's like, okay, yeah, I got to look like Shane, man. I got to
Yeah.
swing the golf club as fast as Shane.
That's the
man.
other thing. The last thing I'll say is the other thing that I'm doing inside of Thrive Wellness is a golf specific strength and conditioning program that is, listen, nothing new under the sun. I've plagiarized it all, but it's in my platform.
Sure.
There's some great golf coaches out the strength and tradition. I take a little bit from all of them and ideas and give them my own, and I program every piece of it. But if you want to pick up miles per hour and you want to pick up core stability and you want to be able to go to Bandon and walk 36, 36, 36, hit me up. I went, and you guys know this because I'm in the shop a lot, but 3 years ago, my club head speed had got down to 103. And I did a ball fitting Sunday morning at Green Tree, and I was 115.4 or something on average.
Let's go.
That's a lot, guys.
Oh, man.
Strong.
I'm 50.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's just I've not done any speed training, right? This is all just strength and conditioning, golf specific. I have an off-season program, a preseason program. We're in the mid-season program now because it's tournament season. So you treat that a little bit differently.
Sure.
As soon as the gusher's over, let's say September, we start building muscle again.
Yeah.
We get stronger.
Yeah.
And then we go into preseason, mid-season, and it kind of cycles.
So mid-season's more of like lean.
Yeah, so mid-season we cut the volume down quite a bit. We still lift chest, we still lift legs, we still lift back, but we cut the volume down, and we also cut down a lot of the high dynamic movements that we use during preseason golf, to fast twitch muscle things, because we've already built those, right? And so we get more into maintaining mobility, flexibility, and then core strength, chest, back, quads, hams. So
Sweet.
yep.
ThriveWellness.com, info@ThriveWellness.com. You can reach out to Shane or you can reach out to Jared, find out what it's all about. Join the program.
Yep.
Get healthy. Not just for
Hit bombs.
Yeah, hit bombs.
Hit filthy bomb.
Hit bombs. I feel like this is just a part one.
Yeah, I think so. I think we could-
I feel like we're going to have a part two and a follow up to
Cool.
go a little deeper. But thanks for joining us on this episode with Shane Workman. It's been a great conversation. Check him out, ThriveWellness.com. Get his app, get in touch, and get in the program and become a healthier you, not just for you, but for your family and those around you as well. We will see you every Friday night, 9 p.m. And until next time, be good, have fun, hit the ball straight and long. You will if you join Thrive Wellness.
No snowmans.
No snowmans because we got a Workman.
That's
That's
right.
right, baby.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the next
good.
one.
All right,
Cheers.
man.